Cut. This is not working.
What are you doing?
Slasher, baby, you got it all wrong. Kaijus don't talk. They roar. Like this. See? Now you try.
Okay, got it.
Alright, we'll just dub it in post or something.
Not me. Damn script you've written. Just not feeling it.
What's wrong with my script? It's perfect.
Oh, it's just a ripoff of King Kong.
No, it's a ripoff of the best ripoff of King Kong.
Mighty Peking Man?
No, it's a ripoff of
Mothra, the mightiest monster in all creation. Yeah, that checks out. Oh hey, this movie's got 2 taglines. Ravishing a universe for love. Dude, at least buy the universe a drink first. Celestial bodies need wooing too. Though truth be told, both taglines are better than these rejected ones. Incredible! Inconceivable! Imagine a monster so huge it blacked out the sky, worshipping the tiniest women ever born. Mightiest monster ever smashes Earth in hunt for tiny mates. Love-crazed monster crushes world! Translation, Mothra's gonna fuck those girls. Anyway, Mothra, or Mosura in Japan, is a 1961 kaiju film produced by Toho Studios. Basically, after the release of Gojira and Rodan, Toho wanted to try their hand at yet another giant monster flick. I mean, why not? The first 2 were giant successes. So, after taking inspiration from a novel entitled The Luminous Fairies and Mothra, and after getting Ishirō Honda, the director of both Gojira and Rodan, on board, the mightiest monster in all creation was finally born. But even still, the question remained, could they catch lightning in a bottle 3 times in a row? Well, considering Mothra is Toho's second most popular kaiju and would go on to appear in 11 or so other movies, yeah, it's safe to say it can. So without further ado, be sure to put on your silk shirt and grab yourself an oversized lamp, for this week's cocooned creature creation is none other than Mothra. Mothra, written in the same font as your local Chinese restaurant. You know, the one that serves ramen, the traditionally Chinese dish. Wait, this is a Columbia production? Well, shit, when are we gonna get that Spider-Man Mothra crossover, yo? I mean, Godzilla already did it, so it wouldn't be that far-fetched, really. Anyway, our movie proper opens with a ship capsizing in a typhoon.
All hands, abandon ship! Abandon ship! And the water, hurry!
Huh, I always wondered what Titanic would be like without all that pesky plot. Turns out, it's the Poseidon Adventure.
Meanwhile, on Bob Ross's happy little island, I'd make another joke here, but honestly I'm just impressed they're using real boats and not models.
In any case, the search looks hopeless. By now we surely should have seen something.
I don't know, if you squint real hard, this rock kinda looks like a crocodile. Oh wait, those are people! Excellent, now we can sacrifice them to our new rock god. Anyway, it turns out the shipwreck survivors washed up on Skull Island. Infant Island? Or was it Baru? Who knew one location could have so many names?
Actually, it's Infant Island. Baru is just the name this dub gave it for no reason whatsoever.
So apparently, Infant Island is a location known for atomic testing. Yet despite this, no survivor suffers radiation poisoning, confounding the scientists. Including one scientist in particular who looks really familiar for some reason or another.
I think it was the juice that must have protected them.
Juice? The juice? Huh. So that's where OJ's been all this time.
Actually, by juice, they mean a strange liquid the native people fed to them when they washed ashore. And naturally, the fact that there are people living on an irradiated island turns out to be a pretty big surprise to the Japanese public.
As for me, I'll just be surprised if the natives don't look like Bud the Chud.
The story of the radiationless survivors is broken by a journalist named Fukuda, and Fukuda, it turns out, is played by a comedian named Frankie Sakai, who's essentially the Japanese Jack Black of the 1950s. Hell, he even had the musical talent. This is not Jack Black from the Americas, no. This is just a tribute.
Since you're here now, I guess I can't throw you out.
Better not, he's a bulldog.
Bulldog?
Yeah, and they call him that because he drools if he likes you.
Actually, in the Japanese release, he was simply called Snapping Turtle, and both names refer to him latching onto news stories and not letting go. Basically, once you catch Fukuda fever, it's really hard to break. He'll always be there in some capacity, watching, waiting for his time to strike.
In retrospect, they should have called him genital herpes.
It turns out the atomic tests on Infant Island were conducted by the quote-unquote Rolisican government, who claim they have no idea people were living there, but of course, that's pure bullshit. It's kind of funny though, I can't seem to find Rolisica anywhere on the map. Oh no, wait, there it is! Right next to the United Shit You Made Up and the Republic of Out Your Ass. I knew I'd find it eventually.
In truth, Rolisica is a stand-in for both the United States and the Soviet Union.
I suppose this was Toho's way of not taking sides during the Cold War, but still condemning both. A true having your cake and eating it too solution. Or having your keks, rather. Anyway, Rolisica puts together an expedition to cover their asses. Enter this movie's Professor Monster expert, Dr. Chujo.
What is it? A mouse!
Man, this prequel to Mouse Hunt is really lame. Actually, maybe Fukuda is a snapping turtle after all. I mean, he sure looks like a friend to all children. Also, I think our good doctor might be a tad racist.
All of these Polynesian islanders share a good deal in common, in their language structure and in their basic culture.
Oh, so all Polynesians are the same, huh? Just wait till I tweet my very specific interpretation of your very vague statement.
Well, you've heard the legend, I suppose, that all these islands once formed a huge continent.
Ah yes, Pangea, that mythical continent, right up there with Avalon and Middle-earth.
The next day, we're introduced to Clark Nelson, the expedition leader and in no way obvious villain of the movie.
That means that no one goes along unless they're needed.
Are you implying that the press would merely be in the way?
Under other circumstances, I know I would require you to help me. As it is now, the press will have to trust us.
Let's be real, that dude's about 5 seconds away from calling them fake news.
Wow, there's more streamers here than TwitchCon 2019! And that right there is a look that says, "Meh, I wish I had a mustache to twirl." Later, Fukuda sneaks aboard the ship in spite of Nelson's anti-press policy, while the crew suspects the villain might in fact be the villain.
I'm beginning to suspect there's more to him than meets the eye.
Yeah, and if you fold him just right, he turns into a realistic gun.
Speaking of guns, Nelson discovers Fukuda and looks about ready to make him squeal like a piggy. Thankfully though, Chujo saves his ass and then replaces their real cruise liner with a toy boat. Movie magic!
Yes, he has joined us as a guard. I have his word he won't act as journalist while he's here.
Yeah, something tells me this dude was the kid who believed in Santa Claus for way too long. Anyway, the very next morning, the ship finally arrives on Infant Island. And apparently they brought with them the entire Japanese precinct of the Ghostbusters.
I mean, who else were they gonna call?
On your right chest strap is an emergency button which will set off a siren alarm if the unexpected does occur.
Don't push it twice, though, otherwise you'll end up like those kids in Battle Royale. Anyway, the expedition finally begins, though this looks less like an island and more like an abandoned Star Trek set. No wait, scratch that, now it's Land of the Lost? Fuck, now it's Doctor Who?
And yet somehow, it's still King Kong.
Dr. Chujo discovers some ugly-ass plants that he concludes must have produced the juice the survivors drank. Honestly not sure how he concludes this, but scientists in kaiju films have always been more like prophetic wizards than scientists anyway. So let's just call it scientific intuition.
Ah, yes, it's a fine day for a shit!
It's really too bad, you know. He struggled so damn hard, and yet, it was all in Vine.
You know, if it chokes him any harder, we might see his vines bulging. Chujo presses the panic button and passes out, but not before seeing two tiny twins watching him from the bushes. Who the hell cares about those two, though, because the real question is, what the hell attacked him anyhow?
A giant carnivorous plant, I think. I wonder. Vampire plant?
No, it's a Frankenvine. Get it right.
Don't you mean Frankenstein's monster?
Get out.
Aww. Back in a sunken place.
Well, either that, or it was actually a baby Biollante, which is some headcanon I can totally roll with. Anyway, Chujo tells the crew about the twins, which makes Nelson way too excited.
They were fully grown women, a foot high.
Did you say women a foot high?
Finally, I get to use my micro-penis! The next day, Chujo tracks down the twins, who inform him that they want their island left alone, which is a pretty understandable request when you think about it.
Oh, they don't want any tests. Take your atom bomb to another island, is that it?
Nah, they're cool with that. I mean, what's a couple nuclear strikes between neighbors anyhow?
Oh no, don't grab those dolls, 'cause they might turn into real girls in the next shot.
I don't think you realize the importance of this.
It's true. In the years after this, blue screen would become a very important filmmaking tool.
Let the girls go.
Nelson double-crosses the crew, but the one thing he didn't count on was old-school cinematic racism. Who knew Asian blackface held so much power?
Ladies and gentlemen, the origin of rock music.
Not sure how they managed to make drum noises with those rocks, though. Either way, these natives look stoned as fuck. Anyway, Nelson eventually lets the twins go, and the expedition finally returns home. Meanwhile, Chujo looks into Nelson, something he probably should have done way earlier.
Several years ago, he went to the Amazon to try to search out a tribe of natives there.
Yeah, and they eventually made it into a movie called Cannibal Holocaust. True family-friendly entertainment. Now available on Disney+. Anyway, Fukuda theorizes Nelson might be a tomb raider, though not the cool kind. Instead, he steals ancient artifacts and sells them on the black market. Which turns out to be true when the douchebag returns to the island and kidnaps the fairy twins.
That's right. Put them in there.
Right next to my ballsack. Never mind the wholesale slaughter of the natives, though, because we got a title to drop.
What is this key word? Mothra.
You're sure it doesn't say King Kong? Because this feels like King Kong.
After the kidnapping, Nelson puts the fairies in a fairy minstrel show. Because I guess you have to be this high to ride the basic human rights ride. Shit, this adaptation of Cinderella got depressing fast. What do the girls even do in this show anyway?
Oh, so they sing the movie's theme song. Well, that's pretty cool. Though it seems weird to have a movie about a giant moth and yet the mascot are these two little fairy girls for some reason, but you do you, Mothra.
Actually, a variation of this song has appeared with almost every incarnation of Mothra. Basically, it's the ceremonial prayer that summons her, so when you hear it, you know shit's about to go down. I should also mention that the twins here were played by the Peanuts, an actual singing group that was pretty big at the time. Well, big in Japan anyway.
Note that because the dub cheaped out and used the original song, you can clearly hear them saying Mosura instead of Mothra, which is the original Japanese name of Mothra.
Chujo and Fukuda confront Nelson over the ethical treatment of fairies, and it goes about as well as you could expect.
The law forbids you turning them into slaves.
You know, if the law forbids it so much, then maybe you should, I don't know, call the police?
It just seems to me you'd have way more luck with the Japanese government than Mr. I jerk off to children's tears over here, but whatever. Chujo eventually convinces Nelson to let them see the twins, who can apparently communicate telepathically now.
You understand what people say?
Actually, only thoughts have meaning to us.
Aw shit, try not to think about tits. Try not to think about tits. Try not to think about tits. Ah shit, I thought about tits.
The girls inform Chujo of Mothra's rise and lament the fact that many innocent people are gonna die if they're not returned.
Mothra should soon be here.
Yeah, but she's stuck in traffic and rush hour is a bitch. Even if it does have Jackie Chan.
Mothra, thou art life eternal.
Mothra's a song on the 4th Ghost album? Huh, I didn't see that coming at all. Man, this kaiju summoning ceremony is lit as fuck. Ain't no party like a kaiju birth party, because a kaiju birth party is fucking adorable. Oh my god, look at that thing. It's so cute.
Oh, who's a baby kaiju? You are! You're a baby kaiju! Yes, you are! Oh, you're so damn cute! Man, I should really get a dog or something because this is just getting pathetic.
Nelson threatens to sue the paper Fukuda works for, which is exactly the kind of taut drama I expect in my giant monster movie. On the other hand, though, this is not at all what I expected when I threw on the human centipede.
He's going to ram us! Hold! Hand over!
Belly flop! So after not calling the police yet again, our heroes decide to get their hands dirty themselves. And holy crap, Fukuda is kind of a badass. Something feels off about this fight scene, though. Here, let me fix it.
Now that's the movie I paid for!
Chujo pleads with the girls to stop Mothra, but it turns out there's nothing they can do. Though if you're wondering why they don't just take the twins right here and now, I have no idea. I guess it never occurred to them. Instead, Chujo comes up with a plan to block Mothra's telepathic link because that's easier somehow.
This synthetic substance has the power to stop radio waves.
Oh, thank God. Now I never have to hear political talk radio ever again.
The military engages Mothra, and it's actually a damn good sequence. I was most surprised by the lack of stock footage, especially after that clunky Rodan dub. Wait, is that a rainbow? Mothra, lesbian icon confirmed! Anyway, the next day, Chujo unveils his radio blocking box, which he apparently made overnight. See what I mean? Wizarding powers.
You're a little too late with this box. Mothra's dead.
What? Why would anyone think that?
I mean, the last we saw, Mothra was swimming through the napalm unharmed. I guess the asshole's just being an asshole, though, because no one else seems as convinced. Meanwhile, in Abbott and Costello Meet the Moth Monster...
Damn you all! Ha! Get it? Damn! Mothra will be here all week!
Mothra continues to cause damage, which leads to the evacuation of a nearby town. This sequence is actually really tense, and I especially like the moment where Fukuda saves a baby from the flood. It's just a really badass scene, and one of the many reasons I vastly prefer the human characters in this movie over Rodan's.
Chujo says Mothra attacks us because Nelson will not let the little girls go back to their island.
Chujo should also say that he had 3 chances to save the girls and still hasn't done shit.
Ironically, the only one not chicken about saving the twins is Chujo's kid. And he even almost succeeds until he doesn't. Yes, hog tie him. He'll make a plump roast.
In order to preserve their traditional amity with Japan, they ordered the immediate release of the girls by Nelson.
Fuck the island people, though. Our bomb's gotta drop somewhere. And the Middle East is all booked up.
The cops finally arrive to confront Nelson, but it turns out he fucked off to his home country. I guess he was more Starscream than Megatron after all. But if you're worried he might have kidnapped Chujo's kid, nah, little dude's fine.
Did he do this? No matter. Are you all right?
He jerked off while I cried. It was really weird. Mothra finally reaches Tokyo, and all hell breaks loose. Shit, guns don't work, bombs don't work, napalm don't work. So what work? Maybe a really big bird. Where's the giant claw when you need him?
Attention all residents of the Shibuya district.
Grab your ankles and kiss your ass goodbye, because y'all gonna get fucked.
Damn, I can't get over how good the effects are here. I mean, Rodan was good, don't get me wrong, but this movie is an improvement tenfold. I mean, yeah, there's some iffy composite shots, but even those were pretty solid for the time.
Though it helps that unlike Rodan, this movie is relatively intact with its dub. A few cuts here and there, but no extra footage whatsoever, which, believe you me, is an improvement.
Call me crazy, but I think Mothra is gonna fuck that tower. Wait, is that a plastic army man? Oh my god, there's more of them! Okay, maybe the effects are not as flawless as I made them out to be. Also, it turns out my joke about fucking that tower was not that far off, actually.
I'll fucking come in your kitchen, I'll come on your fucking art, I'll come anywhere I want!
While Mothra cocoons herself inside what I can only describe as a white chocolate peanut, the Rolisican government provides Japan with some much-needed assistance.
We in Rolisica are eager to help you in any way, and to that end, we're sending over to you our newest weapon.
And we call it a lamp.
Actually, a lamp is not that far off, as the weapon is basically a gigantic heat ray. Well, either that, or they dug through my closet and pulled out my old space heater.
If you do not have protective glasses, do not look directly at the rays.
Fuck that shit, I'm a man! Aw, fucking blind!
Well, I guess what they say is true. Sometimes, you just gotta kill it with fire. Meanwhile, the Japanese declare Mothra dead, which pleases our villains way too much. It's almost as if they forgot they're still international fugitives.
But Mothra can't hear you.
And the reason Mothra can't hear you is that Mothra is dead. Mothra is dead!
Yeah, quiet in the peanut gallery. You get it? Because they're the peanuts.
Surprise, surprise, turns out Mothra is still alive. In retrospect, though, her unfazed cocoon probably should have been their first clue.
I'm coming for your wool, bitches!
Holy moly, Mothra's even more adorable in her moth form. Wait, did I just say holy moly? Jesus, what has this show devolved into recently? Well, I guess Cut Guru confirmed. Anyway, enough about that though, because it's time to watch the Kaiju Queen get mean.
Well, that blows. Not as much as Rodan, though.
Mothra flies off to Newkirk City to track down Nelson and his compadres, much to the chagrin of our villains. Newkirk City? I prefer Old Kirk City, thank you very much. Joking aside, this seems less like a city and more like footage from someone's vacation slides. Anyway, Nelson is eventually cornered, but unlike King Kong, the real monster dies in this movie.
Well, he died as he lived. That's a realistic gun!
But wait, what's this? Mothra is still on the loose. Oh man, we're all screwed now.
Happy Mothra's Day, Mothra fuckers!
Behold, the destruction of the world's largest collection of Tonka trucks. Thankfully, Chujo comes up with a really convoluted plan involving church bells, and the twins are finally returned. Huzzah! Thank God for those ever-useful scientific wizarding powers.
If you want to, come back one day.
Oh, don't worry, dude. They'll be back. At least 11 more times, give or take.
Truth be told, I actually really dig the King Kong influence here, despite my mocking. And I especially love that they went with the monster living in this version. It's just a pleasant twist that stands out from all the other copycats. My only real complaint is that it takes a long time to get to Mothra herself. And while I do enjoy the characters here a lot more than Rodan's, I could have used way more kaiju action. I mean, I could always use more kaiju action, but that's besides the point. The only other thing I want to point out is that I also dug this movie's emphasis on humor. It really helped speed the movie along when Mothra wasn't there, so I greatly appreciate that. Though I'm fully aware that because it is humor, it might not be to everyone's taste, so your mileage may vary. Anyway, if you want a kaiju film with a giant monster you're actually supposed to root for, then you should definitely check out Mothra. And it'd also make a good double feature with Rodan as we lead up to the release of Godzilla, King of the Monsters, hint hint.
At the end of my Rodan review and my Mothra review, I mentioned Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I wonder if this is some sort of grand scheme I've been subtly foreshadowing over the past 2 videos. Maybe even a 3rd video. Anyway, my fellow Gorehounds, peace out, and I'll catch y'all later.